Namo Namaha, Bhavtam Sarvesham Hartam Swagatam. Welcome all to this channel Sanskrit Sopanam. I hope you are doing great. I'm also good. And continuing in our series Learning Sanskrit through Gita, today we are decoding the 10th shloka from the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita. And just like we saw in the previous shloka, this particular shloka is also the dialogue spoken by Sanjaya. He's basically telling Dhritarashtra, in the previous shloka, he told Dhritarashtra that, okay, having said so and so, Arjuna, he became quiet, he became silent. And now in this shloka, he is just telling Dhritarashtra that, okay, taking this cue from Arjuna, Krishna is going to give his response now. So from next shloka onwards, we are going to see the response given by Shri Krishna to all the queries, all the doubts that Arjuna raised in the first chapter and within the second chapter. So anyways, without wasting any more time, let's decode this particular shloka today. So this is the shloka that we have today. Let me go through the shloka once. Tamuvacha Rishikesha Prahasanniva Bharata Senyorubhyor madhye Vishidantam midam vachaha. Okay, so this is the shloka that we have today, and this here is the Sandhi Vichhed version of the shloka. And as you can see, there is a Sandhi that is happening between these two words, Prahasan and Iva, due to which it is becoming Prahasanniva. So there is an additional Nakara that is coming here, as you can see, Prahasan Iva, Prahasanniva. So this additional Nakara, this is due to Ingmudagama Sandhi. So what is the Sandhi rule? Again, the information is in the PDF file. Same thing is happening here. We have three words, Senyoho, Ubhyoho, Madhye. This particular combination we have seen a couple of times in chapter 1 also, if you remember. So due to Ritva Sandhi, Senyor Ubhyo and then Ubhyor Madhye. So you are getting this additional Ra that you are getting. So that is Rutva Sandhi. Again, all the details is available in the PDF file. Download the PDF file from the link in the description box. We are just going to move on and start with the decoding of the shloka. And see the Dhatu Roop, the Kriya Pada that we are starting with, Uvacha. So this Uvacha we have seen so many times before. Aga, Sanjaya Uvacha, Dhananjaya Uvacha, Shri Bhagwan Uvacha. So this Uvacha, we already know the meaning is some third person, he or she spoke. Okay. And even though we have seen this quite a few times, but again, this uvacha, this is coming from vach dhatu, that means to speak, to say, to speak in all those senses. This vach dhatu is in the form of third person. Some third person is doing the action, singular, and that is a single person who is doing the action, and past perfect tense, that is lit lakara in Sanskrit. Okay, and in all these properties, this vach dhatu changes into uvacha. Again, some third person, he or she spoke. So this is what we are starting with, and immediately a question will pop up. Kaha uvacha, right? Who spoke? And response we get is Rishikesha uvacha. That is Krishna, he spoke. And this Rishikesha obviously is another name of Shri Krishna. Why he got this name? Actually in the previous shloka itself, we discussed this point. If not in the previous shloka, we have already discussed this point. Rishika Isha Sa Rishikesha. One who is the master of his senses. That is his Indriya. So one who is the master who controls his Indriya, his senses. So he is Rishik Isha Rishikesha. That is how Shri Krishna gets this name. And again, since he is the Karta of this Kriya, Uvacha, that Krishna spoke. So obviously this is in Prathama Vibhakti Ekvachan form. So first word case, singular form. That is why Rishikesha in this form, okay. And now if we'll move on, so there is a very interesting detail here that speaks a lot about the character of Krishna. That is why I'm writing Kidrishaha. So it is not actually an adjective, but it is just how Shri Krishna is being seen by Sanjay at that moment. So that is what he is describing to Dhritarashtra, that this Rishikesha Prahasan Iva Rishikesha. And this Prahasan, this is coming from Has Dhatu. Has Dhatu means to smile or to laugh in both the senses. And here, this particular Dhatu is being modified using this suffix, Shatra suffix. And we know the function of Shatra suffix to show that some continuous, present continuous action, that while doing this, while studying, while eating, to show that continuity of that present action, we use this Shatra pratyaya. So when I modify this Has Dhatu with this Shatra pratyaya, then the Pratipadika that I get is this Hasat. Okay, and again, along with this prefix, we have Prahasat. And what meaning does this Pratipadika will give? So again, because we are using Shatra pratyaya, and our dhatu is to smile. So this pratipadika is of course saying while smiling. Okay, in that sense. While smiling or simply smiling. So within the context we can use simply smiling. Okay, so that is the meaning this pratipadika is giving. Now since we are using this pratipadika, since we are using this verb based adjective for who? So we are using this for Rishikesha. And since this Rishikesha, this is a masculine gender noun in Prathama Vibhakti Ekvachan, right? So this Prahasat, this will also take the masculine gender Prathama Vibhakti Ekvachana form. So this Prahasat, this will change into Prahasan. So that is the general form that we know of these Takarant Pratipadika. All the Takarant Pratipadika that are formed using the Shatr Pratyay. So for a masculine gender noun in Prathama Vibhakti Ekvachana, they, instead of getting this ta, they get the na. So Prahasan. This is the Prathama Vibhakti form. If it would have been for a neuter gender noun, that is, if I was linking this verb based adjective with some neuter gender noun, suppose there was some neuter gender noun like Mitram. So if I was using with Mitram, that the friend while smiling, so if I was using this Pratipadika with this neuter gender noun, then it would have taken the neuter gender form and then it would have been Prahasat. But for masculine gender noun in Prathama Vibhakti Ekvachana, this becomes Prahasan. So anyways, Prahasan, I hope the entire structure of this word is clear. And then you have Iva. So this Iva, this is an indeclinable or an avyay. This Iva means like. That I am saying Simha Iva. So I'm saying like a lion. Suppose I'm describing some person, some courageous person, then I'm using Simha Iva. So I'm comparing him with lion. In that sense, this Iva, this indeclinable is used, but this indeclinable, this is also used in the meaning of as if. Because I'm saying Prahasan Iva. So I'm saying as if smiling or seemingly smiling. And now this entire sentence, Prahasan Iva Rishikeshaha, this simply means that Krishna, as if smiling, or Krishna seemingly smiling, he spoke. Sanjay, because due to his divine vision, he is seeing the events that are happening in Kurukshetra. So he is actually seeing Krishna and Arjuna. So that is how he is describing Dhritarashtra, that after listening to Arjuna for all this while, now Shri Krishna, as if smiling, spoke. And as to why Shri Krishna, he was having this little smile in this serious situation, when in front of him, his disciple Arjuna, he was crying, he was so in such a dejected state, is simply because, as good teachers do, that when they are asked good questions from their students, in some way they become joyous, that okay, at least that good question is going to get good answer. So maybe he was expecting this breakdown from Arjuna. Maybe the questions he asked, he was glad of these questions, that at least he asked those questions. Now he is going to get the right answers. He should have got these right answers. Now is the time he is going to get those right answers. So in that hopefulness for his disciple, in that sense maybe, Krishna had this faint smile on his face. That is what Sanjay is conveying, that Prahasan Iva Rishikesha Uvach, that Krishna, as if smiling, he spoke. So that is the context so far. And if we'll move forward, then what? That Kim Uvacha. So what did he spoke? So he's simply saying Idam Vachaha Uvacha. And actually, instead of using this speech, this does not sound very good. So you can just say like this sentence. Okay, these words or this sentence, because what he spoke, we are going to see in the next shloka. So here he is just setting up the stage, Sanjaya, that Rishikesha Idam Vachaha Uvacha. Krishna, he spoke this sentence. He spoke these words. Okay, that is what he's saying. This Vachaha, this form, this is coming from the Pratipadika Vachas. Okay, and just like Manas, this is also a neuter gender Pratipadika. Since Vachaha Uvacha, so this is like an object. This Vachas, this is being used as an object. That what did he spoke? He spoke these words. He spoke this sentence. So since this is being used as an object in the sentence, so obviously this Vachaha, this is in Dutiya Vibhakti. This is in second word case and singular form. Okay, so just like for Manas, you have Manaha in the Dutiya Vibhakti form. Same, with Vachas you have this Vachaha. Vachaha Uvach. Okay, and this Idam, again, this is just a pronoun. This is just pronoun with the same name Idam. So this is also in same Dutiya Vibhakti singular form. And again, just a pronoun. Why? Because I want to say this sentence. Sanjay is saying that he spoke this sentence. So together they are just making this pair. Idam Vachaha, this is speech, this sentence in that sense. Okay, so I hope so far everything is clear. And now Sanjay is just adding few more details. Like Kam Uvacha, to whom did he spoke this sentence, or whatever sentence, whatever words he is going to speak in the next shlokas. To whom is he speaking this sentence? We already know the answer. That is Arjuna. But Arjuna, he is not being mentioned as a name here. Sanjay, he is pointing to him using this pronoun tam. Okay, this pronoun, the main pronoun is tad. Tad means that. And since Sanjay is saying that Krishna spoke this sentence, these words to him, so to him. So that is obviously the second case, the Dutiya Vibhakti, and of course Ekvachana singular form. So this pronoun Pratipadika is also taking the masculine gender Dutiya Vibhakti singular form, changing into tam, simply meaning to him. That Rishikesha, he spoke to him. And we already know that this him is, of course, he spoke these words to Arjuna. Okay, and now, as we already saw in the previous shloka, the mental state of Arjuna, that same thing Sanjay is again repeating here. Because Kidrisham, what like? That this tam to him, this Arjuna, how is he described in the shloka? He is being described as Vishidantam Tama. Vishidantam, this means grieving, someone who is grieving or someone who is lamenting. So this verb based adjective, so if you can see grieving, and this grieving is describing this Arjuna. So this is a verb based adjective. Clearly this verb based adjective we are getting from this dhatu, that is sad dhatu. And sad dhatu, this means to grieve or to feel dejected, to despond, to lose interest, in all those sense. And along with this prefix vi, so vi plus sad, the meaning again, it just enhances that meaning, that to feel grief, to grieve or to feel sad. So in that sense only. And this dhatu is being modified again using the same pratyaya that we saw before, shatra pratyaya. So showing the current ongoing state of some person. So shatra pratyaya. So v plus sad plus shatra, the entire pratipadika becomes vishidat. Okay, just as we saw, no, that prahasat. So we got that takarant pratipadika. But since this prahasat, this was being used for Rishikesha, who was in Prathama Vibhakti, he was the karta of this uvacha, this action. So this prahasat, the pratipadika also took the Prathama Vibhakti form and changed into prahasan. But there is a difference that is happening here. This vishidat, this pratipadika, that means someone who is grieving. Okay. This pratipadika is being used for Arjuna, tam. Since this pronoun is in Dutiya Vibhakti, so this pratipadika will also take the Dutiya Vibhakti form. And so it becomes vishidantam. Okay. Suppose the same pratipadika, this was being used for Rishikesha, that a grieving Rishikesha, he spoke. So since Rishikesha is the karta and he is in Prathama Vibhakti, then this Vishidat, this would have also taken the Prathama Vibhakti form and it would have changed into this Vishidan. So then I would have said Vishidan Rishikesha Uvacha, that a grieving Krishna spoke, because all the pronouns, all the adjectives, they are always going to take the same Vibhakti Vachan form, right, of its principal noun. But again here, since we are using this adjective grieving for Arjuna, who himself is in Dutiya Vibhakti here, tam. So this pratipadika of course is not taking the Prathama Vibhakti form, it is taking the Dutiya Vibhakti form, Vishidantam. So I hope this is clear. And now this entire sentence will mean Prahasan iva Rishikesha, a seemingly smiling Rishikesha, uvacha, he spoke. He spoke to whom? So Vishidantam tam. That he spoke to him, that is to Arjuna, who was Vishidantam, who was grieving. And what did he spoke? So idam vacha. He spoke these words. He spoke this sentence that again will be revealed in the further shloka. Okay, so I hope it is clear. There is just one more detail, kutra. So he's just adding that information, that senyoho ubhyoho madhye. And we have seen this combination before also. This simply means in the midst, that is madhye, of both armies, that is ubhyo senyoho. Okay, but anyways, let us understand these words. So senyoho, this is coming from the pratipadika sena. And this sena, this is because this is an akarant shabda. So we already know this is a feminine gender pratipadika. This sena, this means army. And this ubhyoho, this is coming from the pratipadika ubha. And ubha, this is an adjective that means both. Okay, so ubha, that means both. Sena, that means army. And this madhya, this is coming from the pratipadika madhya. Madhya means in the midst of it, the what you say, between, the middle. Okay, and madhya, so it is like a saptami vibhakti form, that in the middle or in the midst, that is in between two things. Okay, so that is madhya. And this madhya you also find in some Sanskrit dictionary. This madhya itself is a indeclinable avyay. That simply means the same thing, that is in the midst. Okay, and then I want to say in the midst of both the armies. So since I want to say in the midst of both the armies, so obviously I'm using the sixth case, the Shashti Vibhakti on both these words. So we are using the Shashti Vibhakti and we are using the dual, that is Dvivachana. Why? Because obviously there are two armies, both the armies, so that implies there are two armies. So we are using the Dvivachana Shashti Vibhakti form. So Sena in Shashti Vibhakti Dvivachana changes into Senyoho, and it this adjective ubha, it will just follow its noun. So ubha also will become ubhyoho. So that is what we see, that senyoho ubhyoho madhye, that in the midst of both the armies. Okay. And in some way it is significant also because again, senyo bhyoho madhye vishidantam tam. That Arjuna, he is lamenting, he is grieving while he is still standing in between both the armies. If you remember in the first chapter, very early on, he asked Shri Krishna that place my chariot between both the armies. I want to take a good look at both of them. So both of them are essentially still there between both the armies, and being present there, Arjuna, he is Vishidantam. Arjuna, he is grieving. Okay, so that is the setting, that is the mental image that Sanjay wants to give the readers. So that is just the detail. So now we have the Anvay with the translation. Let us take a look at that. We have this word Bharata. Okay, Bharata. So Bharata simply means someone who is the descendant of King Bharat. And who was King Bharat? So again, so he was the legendary king of King Dushyant and Shakuntala. Based on these characters, Dushyant and Shakuntala, we also have the very famous play of Kalidasa, Abhijnana Shakuntalam. So that play is based on their story only. So the son of Dushyant and Shakuntala was this Bharat. And he ruled for a very long time. And from his rule only, we got the name for our motherland, that is Bharata. Okay, so that King Bharat. And this King Bharat is also the ancestor of this entire Kuru clan. So that is why they are saying that, O descendant of Bharat. Sanjay is simply using Bharata to refer to King Dhritarashtra. So using the Sambodhana Vibhakti Bharata. Okay. And then he continues and says, Prahasan iv Rishikesha. Rishikesha, that is Krishna. Prahasan iv, that is as if smiling or seemingly smiling. Uvacha, so spoke. So tam idam vacha uvacha, that he spoke this sentence to him. And this him we already know, talking about Arjuna. And then Sanjay is describing the current state of Arjuna, that is Vishidantam, that he spoke this sentence to him who was grieving. Vishidantam, who was grieving. And where were both of them present? So Seniyoho Ubyoho Madhye, that who was grieving in the midst of both the armies, because his chariot is still in between both the armies. So Krishna, he gave his instruction, he spoke these words to a grieving Arjuna who was still in between both the armies. Okay, so that is the entire meaning of the sentence. The stage is set up, the context is given. From the next shloka onwards, we are going to see the dialogue spoken by Shri Krishna. So I hope everything is clear and smooth so far. If any doubt, you can refer to the PDF sheet, download it from the link in the description box. And now I'll take a leave. I'll meet you in the next shloka in the next video. Until then, stay awesome, stay happy. Vayam punha milamaha. Dhanyavad.